This video is presented by Western and Southern Financial Group, a game plan for your financial future. Every great team starts with a strong foundation, and your future should too. With life insurance built like a championship roster, Western and Southern helps protect what matters most, so you can focus on winning today while planning for tomorrow. Whether you're just starting your journey, building your dynasty, or ready to retire like a champion, Western and Southern has the right play for your life stage. Visit westernsouthern.com to get your free life insurance quote today. Western and Southern, built to win. All right, final two teams here in the playoff. We've got our two group of 6 teams that made the playoff. First off, number 11, Tulane, coached by John Summerall. They went 11-2 this year. They won the American Championship, first playoff appearance in program history for the Tulane Green Wave. Tulane's path to the national title game. They are at Ole Miss in the first round in a rematch for them. Then they play Georgia in the quarterfinal if they win a game against Ole Miss. That game against Georgia will be in the Sugar Bowl. And if they win that game, they'll play in the semifinals against either Ohio State, Texas A&M, or Miami in the Fiesta Bowl. John Summerall, the head coach at Tulane for now, has picked up right where Willie Fritz left off for the Green Wave. He went 9-5 last year in his first year on the job, and then an 11-2 record this year, which included the program's second American title in the last 4 seasons and the first playoff appearance ever for the program. Summerall was hired by Florida to be their new head coach next year, but unlike Lane Kiffin, he will be coaching the Green Wave throughout this playoff run, and that starts in the first round at Ole Miss, the same team that beat the Green Wave in the same stadium by a final score of 45-10 back in week 4.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you've got obviously the drama surrounding their coaching staff and everything, but they have named former Southern Miss head coach and current passing game coordinator Will Hall as their new permanent head coach. So they're going with an internal promotion, this Tulane team. But what a year that they've had, right? They had the loss to Ole Miss early in the year. The only conference loss was to UTSA. Sorry, we'll get to UCLA in a minute with the next preview. But the loss to UTSA on the road there, but bouncing back to beat Memphis. Jake Retzloff had his best game of the year in that game, and then really dominating North Texas for the most part in the American title game. They were the first group of 6 team that was ranked here in the last couple weeks of the season, taking that top spot in the ranking and taking full advantage of it to get the 11 seed here in the playoffs. So very interesting that they get this rematch against Ole Miss in the first round, but a fun year it's been down there in New Orleans for Tulane.
What is the biggest strength of the Green Wave this year?
So I think when you look at this team, it's been a balanced effort. Their defense has been solid in moments, but I think when you really look at the centerpiece of their offense being the transfer quarterback, didn't even get into the program until late July, it's been Jake Retzloff, right? He's had an interesting group of receivers. You talk about guys like Shaz Preston and Amari Hayes who have been productive. They've got a diverse group of receivers. He's been really good in the intermediate game, but 15th in the nation in successful pass rate, just over 43%, and Retzloff 22nd in the country in PFF grade, a guy who's really used his dual threat ability throughout the season. He's thrown it well in the intermediate range, and they've done a nice job, even though he won the job very, very late in the offseason, right, and came in very late in the offseason, of centering the entire offense around his abilities, his athletic abilities. So their passing game is very interesting, and they have gotten better as the season has gone on, and Retzloff has gotten more reps with these weapons.
Yeah, 26th in receiving grade, too. So, yeah, really dangerous passing game for Tulane. I'm looking at the run defense as potentially the biggest weakness for Tulane going into the playoff. They're only 102nd in run defense grade this year and 106th in successful run rate allowed at over 35%. And the team they're playing, in the first round of the playoff in Ole Miss, when they played Ole Miss back in week 4, Tulane allowed 241 rushing yards with an average of almost 6 yards per carry, too. And I can promise you right now, Pete Golding and Charlie Weiss Jr., the offensive coordinator at Ole Miss, they're going to rely on Kawan Lacey against this Tulane defense too. So that run defense has to play a lot better in the first round against Ole Miss.
Yeah, they've got to figure it out. I think they caught a little bit of a break against North Texas in the American title game when Caleb Hawkins left that game early with injury. But it's been inconsistent, right? And teams that have been able to have balance against Tulane. I even go back to a heavy rushing team. A game they barely won against Army. They had to win last second against Army, and that's a team obviously that runs the football more than anybody. So you're talking about a Tulane team that is going to have to play better in the front seven if they're going to take down Lacey and make Ole Miss one-dimensional.
Let's talk more about Jake Retzlaff, Dalton, a guy that arrived in New Orleans in late July after having to leave BYU. What should we know about him going into the playoff?
And I think something with Retzlaff that's been intriguing this year is almost the step down in competition, right, from the Big 12 at BYU to the American at Tulane. It seems like the coach, for me, from what I've watched this guy, from what we saw last year and into this year, it seems like the coaches told him, hey, you're in the American now. Guess what? You're one of the best athletes on the field, right? Whereas in the Big 12, he might have been a good athlete. He could run a little bit, right? I'm not saying he wasn't a good athlete, but down at this American level in the group of 6, hey, man, you could take this game over with your athleticism. How about this for a stat, Max? 16 rushing touchdowns this year for Jake Retzlaff, most among all FBS quarterbacks, right? His legs, to me, it started out with that in the first half of the year, the bootleg game, the design run game, his ability to scramble and create explosive runs has been a real problem for opposing defenses all year, right? And when you talk about him getting under center, being able to run things in 12 personnel with 2 tight ends on the field, getting in the bootleg, getting this guy outside the pocket's been dangerous. And then I think he's gotten better as a passer as the year has gone on, and he's got more chemistry with these receivers, especially in that intermediate 10 to 19-yard range. In the intermediate range, Max, about a 91.6 passing grade, 10th best in the country. So you talk about Tulane, they don't often get over the top when it comes to their passing game deep downfield, although against Memphis they did, and Retzlaff played his best game of the year. But to me, intermediate passing, bootleg, play action, and Retzlaff's athleticism have really been the keys to his season.
Yeah, I want to shout out one of his star offensive linemen in Shaderhurst, the offensive guard for Tulane. He was actually named to our all group of 6 team, which is available right now on PFF.com, because he has been, I would argue, the best left guard in the group of 6 this year. 81 PFF grade as a redshirt junior, is 6th among all guards in the country, and he's one of 3 guards in America with 80-plus grades as a pass blocker and as a run blocker, has not surrendered a sack or a hit all season long, and has only allowed 6 pressures all year on 411 pass blocking. I'm sure, Jake Retzlaff is very grateful to have a pass blocker as good as Hurst is for that Tulane offensive line. He's also been a great run blocker for the Green Wave this year, too.
Absolutely key piece on that offensive line, and you saw it even, you mentioned the run blocking. They were so good in the run game, especially getting off tackle and working east and west in the run game against North Texas. That really keyed them to a win on offense, and they're very good in the trenches on the defensive side. They got a really good player in their interior defender, Santana Hopper, the Appalachian State transfer. 3rd straight season so far with at least an 80 pass rush grade. He was outstanding at App State. He's done it again with the step up here to Tulane. 39 pressures this year is the 2nd most among all defensive tackles in the country. Solid run defender, a little bit undersized at 265 pounds, plays a little bit off the edge, a little bit inside, but he's just a versatile, high motor player that is a problem as an interior rusher. Trinidad Chambliss and this Ole Miss offense is they're going to need to be aware of Santana Hopper on the inside, one of the best interior pass rushers in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 2nd in the country in pressures, like you said, 3rd in the country in pass rush win rate, too. He's been an outstanding pass rusher. A little bit worse as a run defender this year, but he has remained one of the best pass rushers at D tackle in college football. Dalton, bottom line for Tulane, I guess for the 2 group of 6 teams, is how realistic are their chances of pulling off an upset in the first round? For Tulane, they play, of course, Ole Miss in the first round.
The big thing they're going to need, and the problem in games the problem games for them on defense, for the most part, to me, has been when the game is really sped up on them, right? I think when teams get into high tempo and they start to really use their passing attacks, when you talk about, okay, play clock's got 20 seconds left, but they're running a play, right? You think about Duke's passing game and the way that they played against them. Ole Miss, obviously, 45-10 victory, and Chambliss was outstanding in that game. And I think about the loss to UTSA, right? And even the way that they play, they started to show some cracks in the second half against North Texas. When teams really start to pick up the tempo and attack this defense in the passing game, that's the biggest problem. So Tulane's secondary is going to have to keep them in this game if they can force some turnovers, which has been a theme in a lot of their big wins this year. Think about that win over North Texas. Think about, remember their week 1 win over Preston Stone and Northwestern, forcing, I think it was 4 interceptions they had in that game. I want to say the secondary at times has been outstanding this year, and at other times when teams have gone up tempo, really that's when they've started to struggle. The biggest thing you can do to prevent that from happening is that very first play of the drive and disallowing that first down of the drive. That's how you slow teams down when they're trying to play up-tempo like that. I expect Ole Miss to come out with their foot on the gas. If Tulane can find a way to slow down the pace of the game and then offensively really control it with their run game, then you talk about them having a shot to win this game at Ole Miss and further.
Yeah, they need their defense to step up right now. The defense is only 79th in EP per play and 89th in defensive grade this year, too. They got to step up and play a lot better in run defense and make Trinidad Chambliss beat them as a passer, who is, of course, capable of doing that as a passer, too, but you cannot get run all over by Kawan Lacey and even Chambliss, too, on the ground like they were in their last game, too. Don't know if it would be as bad of a 35-point loss that they suffered in Week 4, but it is an uphill climb for Tulane in this one, obviously. But they are capable of pulling off some magic, especially against an Ole Miss team, Dalton, that is not with Lane Kiffin right now. And a brand new head coach at Ole Miss.
You've got a new head coach with no Kiffin. You have Summerall, who is coaching in this game. It is a rematch, so you get to at least go back, and even in a 45-10 loss, you get to go back and see the things that you can fix. And let's face it, Tulane's got nothing to lose here, right?
Yep.
Summerall's got nothing to lose here. It's not like he's getting fired. He's going to Florida anyway, right? So you're talking about a team that's going to play with a chip on their shoulder, as they have done, as Jake Retzloff has done all season, and I expect them to go out there and compete hard, man. And if their defense can keep them in it, then you're talking about a good football team that can cause you some problems.
Yeah, that Jake Retzloff and the passing attack can keep Tulane in this game against Ole Miss, but we'll see if the defense can keep it in this game too.
Everyone's got takes. Numbers have truth. And the truth is, most people are betting with emotion. Sportsbooks feed on it. TikTok gurus sell it. The hype machine runs on it. That's how you lose. PFF is different. You're betting with winning data. The same data trusted by all 32 NFL teams and the sharpest minds in the game. PFF betting tools take every prop, every matchup, every angle, and run them through our custom models. Built on the best football data in the world. What comes back is your edge. Simple, sharp, and built to win. Want to go deeper? PFF puts a pro-level analytics department in your hands, giving you the same insights teams use to find every advantage. Build your game plan with matchup analysis. Project every snap, every matchup, and every edge before kickoff. Because the smartest plays start long before Sunday. Hit rates show how a player performs against their prop and against defenses built the same way. It's the data that gives you real confidence in every pick. Next, Key Insights translates PFF data into the story behind every matchup, giving you the why that powers your bets. From coverage schemes to defensive looks, it's the context that turns raw numbers into winning decisions. When you're ready to take action, filter through every prop on the market and focus on the opportunities that matter, by game, matchup, or value. Then, shop for the best available line in your area and tap your book of choice to place the bet instantly. Everyone's got takes, but now you've got truth. Bet with data, win with PFF.